Smith & Wesson recently got on board with the integrally compensated barrel design, and their full-size version of the gun is appointed with their aluminum frame and some of the most beautiful slide work you'll see on a production gun, period. But with its nearly $1,000 price tag, is it all that it's cracked up to be? Welcome back to the Humble Marksman channel. I'm David, and today I'm looking at the Smith & Wesson M&P Metal Carry Comp, which is their full-size version of the gun featuring their very pretty aluminum frame. And just like we teased in the hook, guys, there are some problems with this gun. We will get there in good time. Just like back when you were single and if you dated a pretty girl and she had lots and lots of issues, sometimes the pretty ones still come with their own baggage, and unfortunately this one does. But before we get there, I want to talk through the design of this gun, because it's not just a execution issue, which this gun has, but it's also, in my opinion, a design issue that makes it kind of miss the mark on the value, because this thing costs nearly $1,000, and I mean, it'd be better if it was polymer. But first, a crisp high five to the dads in the audience, and I honor you with this. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut, but my parents assured me the sky was the limit. So first, let's touch on some of the design stuff. Now, I've done a video on the M&P Competitor. I had pretty much all the same criticisms I'm going to give this gun based on their aluminum frame design, which makes me think that the people at Smith & Wesson aren't talking to actual competition shooters who understand what kind of the divisions are and what the guns sort of need to be, because it seems like we're entering a point in the industry where there's just like a cash grab based around the idea of performance carry or competition something. But a lot of times when they throw competition on a gun, it just means that we're going to charge more for it, whether the features support competition or not. And I think that this kind of falls into that category somewhat with the performance carry side. So first and foremost, this is the most gorgeous slide I have seen on a pistol in a while. I just love the slide work on this gun. It is absolutely stunning. It is one of the best looking guns that I've seen in a very long time. So when they announced it, I got very excited about it because I thought it was going to be pretty killer. Then I saw that they put it on the aluminum frame and my excitement sort of started to fall off. So then there is the aluminum frame, and this misses the mark on several characteristics. Now, the fact that it is metal, now this technically isn't the competition gun, this one is, but it is called the Competitor and it has an aluminum frame. Aluminum is not the material to make competition guns out of typically, because what you want is a gun that weighs 39 to 40 ounces. And the way that you get there is generally with a steel, not aluminum frame. So that was one of the miscues, because this gun weighs pretty much exactly the same as the polymer version of the gun. The problem with the aluminum frame is that it doesn't compress in recoil, so it transmits all the energy of the slide coming back into your wrists and arms. So it's more fatiguing to shoot. You don't get the benefit of the weight of a stiffer material that helps you steady it out of recoil and in transition faster. So it ends up just being a marketing gimmick at that point. Like, it's aluminum, like, cool, what does that mean? The next miscue on this gun is they decided to keep the M&P backstrap system on this new aluminum frame, rather than actually providing traction in kind of the most critical areas of the pistol, which is up here, because that's where the support hand makes contact and resists a lot of the frame trying to turn. Instead, it's aluminum, which is even slicker than polymer, and so it's just very difficult to get a good weld of your support hand onto the gun. The good news is, because it is so slick, you could probably get some grip tape or some silicon carbide up there and make the traction work out. But I mean, it's just not ideal for performance shooting. The plastic bits on the gun are super grippy and do bite into the palm of your hand and the front strap. But again, rather than milling into the aluminum, some checkering, which costs more money but is superior, they just put a plastic insert. The front strap kind of wiggles when you grip it, like that little plastic insert in the aluminum, it kind of moves around. And I don't love that. That plastic insert is not fixed to the frame in a meaningful way. It actually has a fair amount of play. So as the gun is moving, you can actually feel the front strap kind of move around. Now, this is a your mileage may vary sort of thing, because my Competitor version of the gun doesn't quite have the same issue. It's a much better fit on the front strap. There's a little bit of wiggle, but it wasn't really noticeable shooting it. The trigger on the gun is actually quite good. There is a fair amount of take up until you get to a wall, and then there is just a little bit of over travel. It's a much better break than the previous generation M&Ps. It's not the hinge trigger anymore. It is their trigger safety style trigger. So it's a great trigger, honestly, that comes with it. And the accuracy that you can get out of this gun is fantastic. It is very, very accurate. When I was validating Zero, I was able to get some amazing groups out of the guns, and I was just like, I wish that these guns were better because I shoot them really, really well. All things considered, it's just price per pound, the value is just not quite there because of all the options we talked about. Looking at the guns shoot in slow motion, I could see that the competitor has a little bit more bounce when it returns into battery. I think if you played with the springing on this gun, you could probably get it to really optimize the fact there is a big ol' kind of integrated compensator at the front of the barrel. So all in all, I've kind of mixed feelings about the M&P. It's a very good platform to shoot, but then there is the question, like, not only are you comparing this to the other, you know, $1,000 handguns in the market, you're comparing this to the $500 version of basically the same gun. And real quickly, before we go into what's wrong with the pistol from a execution standpoint, no, nobody is paid by any other brand here on YouTube. We are legally required to disclose any of those sorts of relationships. I don't have any axe to grind other than the fact I want to see Smith & Wesson be as successful as possible. And since everybody's kind of fawning over the thing, I figured I would at least throw my 2 cents in there. Now, here is the execution issue. This gun is a bolt action gun, and I say that because the slide, if you shoot the gun without making contact with the slide stop, will lock back on every single round. First shot, it locked back. I'm not sure what's going on here. All 3 of the first shots have locked back on every shot. Not sure what's happening here. It's locking back every time I try and shoot it, tried a different load, and it just every single time it's locking back. All right, this is fun. I just figured this out. So got a round there, going in the magazine, drop the mag. So there's nothing making contact with this guy. Still locks open. And I can kind of reproduce the issue for you here. So if I pull the slide to the rear and pull the trigger, the slide locks open. Moving the trigger to the rear puts upward pressure on the slide lock that we have right there, and it is engaging the slide stop. And in live fire, it's happening fast enough where just breaking the trigger and the gun cycling is causing the gun to go into slide lock. There is just something weird going on with this specific pistol that requires it probably to be sent back to the factory. I have no clue how widespread this issue is or whether this is just a special snowflake gun made in the afternoon on a Friday and it just got put together wrong or what, but that was kind of an issue there, compounding the design issues that I feel like the gun has. Clearly there's some kind of tolerance stacking issue at play here that's causing this gun to have the issue that it does. So all of the shooting that you see on the range where I'm trying to shoot, I am holding the slide stop down with my support hand thumb. And some instances, I was still able to get the magazine to lock back. In some instances, the slide wouldn't lock back at the end of the round. So that's kind of where I leave it. I'm similarly disappointed with that gun as I am this one. This gun is still one of the more accurate production guns that I have, and it's one of the easiest guns to just hand to somebody and have them print small groups with because the ergonomics on the M&P are amazing. The new trigger shoes that they came out with are amazing. It's just a very easy gun to shoot accurately. It's just not an amazing performance gun based on kind of the criteria I laid out earlier. So if you have this gun, if you're having the same issue, please sound off in the comments. If you have this gun and you're not having the issue, please let me know in the comments as well, and we can start to get a feel for how widespread the issue sort of is. If you want to watch a video on the M&P 2.0 competitor, you can watch that here now.